Yep.
And my co-host, Jonathan Gold.
Hi, everybody.
Hey. So, as I knock myself against my microphone sitting in my bedroom recording, we are definitely in unprecedented times, my friend.
Man, what can we say?
Yeah.
We are both of us are in our home bunkers. We call them that.
Stowed away.
Spending time with our family that we love, and not spending time with our friends except online.
Yes, digitally.
Exactly.
And the thing is, I don't know. You said spending time with the people we love. I'm not sure they always love us. Because this is the other thing with this whole isolation thing, is that you're in each other's company for a long time. And I think my wife might burst in here at some stage and maybe start hitting me with a pan. So that might happen live.
Let's not do that live.
So maybe some.
I mean, we will have a lot of hits at that point.
It could be interesting. It might make for good content. So, Jono, I mean, the reason we're sitting here and kind of rambling on a little bit, and we're going to spend the next 25 minutes, hopefully, or shorter, potentially, together, is that we don't have a planned show this week. Our show is called How Are You Doing? We haven't really spoken to each other for like a week and a half, and we thought, hey, let's just get together online on the show and just have a conversation and kind of match experiences. We're both in Poland at the moment, so our context is that, but we're on different sides of Poland. But also, I don't think I want this show to be about advice. I mean, there's enough advice flying around. It's just checking in. And
Right.
if you're listening to this, we have many channels. We would love to know how you are doing. You can do it now. I mean, like I mentioned, we are currently doing this live on our Facebook page. We'll probably do a few more of these, so please feel free to join us. But Jono, I think the first thing we wanted to talk about, because we made a few topics, a few notes we wanted to cover, is social impact. What does this situation mean from your perspective and mine? Like, how are you feeling? How's this impacting you?
Yes. So that COVID-19 situation is causing a lot of angst, social angst around us. Specifically, people are stressed because they are caring for their loved ones. They are fearing for their loved ones. They are also fearing for their job situation. I had a couple of friends who have been fired. I have a couple of friends who don't have an outlook on their work situations for the next few months. So there is a lot of social angst, and one of the things about it is that it affects us. Even if for you it's okay, let's say, how can you be not sensible to a friend of yours telling you that they lost their job, telling you that they don't know if they are going to be able to pay rent at the end of this month? We are, hopefully most of us are, caring for our loved ones and our friends, and it's pressure. It's pressure.
No, for sure. I mean, in my case, I think I share the same as you, and there's two things I want to touch on. The one is that there's like these two layers of impact, right? One is the social economic kind of impact, where it's like rent not being able to get paid, worrying about your job security and other things, right? But then there's also this kind of emotional strain that people are taking. So as we are going into this kind of world with Zoom calls and all kinds of craziness, I've been able to jump into a few of these calls the last week. And what was interesting is that sometimes there's this ability for people to create a safe space where people can actually share. And I think we need to allow our loved ones to share how they feel about things. And it was strange because I was in a call earlier this week, or late last week, sorry. And people were sharing how they felt about things. And there was this wide range of feelings coming through. So people are feeling optimistic. But then in between, there are people who are really fearing what the situation is, like fearing for loved ones. And I think that at the moment, the best thing you can probably do is to actually create a space where people can share that feeling. I don't know how you think, Jono, but like to say to someone, hey, don't worry about it, it's going to be fine. I don't think that is the time to do that. I think the time is now to just hear people out so they can express how they feel about things, even if it's sometimes a bit crazy what they're saying. Just let them talk about it.
Right, right. I don't know, man. I'm going to tell you why. The first thing is that it's difficult for people to share about their real situation online. That's one
Yeah.
of my feeling. Even if we create those Zoom calls, you need to have this prehistory in terms of relationship for them to be able to be in a zone of confidence with you. And it's kind of difficult to create those relationships purely online
No.
on the base on short discussions. I can see I saw that happening, sorry. I have friends that I made
Mm,
online, like you and me. Um, However, we had more than like a few Zoom chats. And there is also the apprehension of being exaggerating, of being it's I do think it's difficult. On my side, I've been focused on my close friends. So I've been reaching out on people I loved but didn't contact since months or years
yeah.
because, life happens, and just checking in and asking them, are you okay? How can I help? If I can help, um, are your kids? Because we're in this age where most of our friends have kids. Um, are your parents? Which was a question I never really asked,
Yeah.
to be honest. And now I'm finding myself asking it. Are your parents? Is everything
Yeah,
fine on
because
their
of the
side?
yeah, it is. It's true, man. And the thing is, like, just to clarify what I said earlier, because the thing is, I don't think you need to set up Zoom calls to make people come in and have a psychological kind of conversation, right? I mean, that's not what I'm saying. The only thing that I was saying is like my reflection was that I was in a few calls last week where the topic wasn't come and share your love or freak out
Gotcha.
session or whatever. It was
People
either
opened.
yeah. And the
Okay.
thing is, like, what I found is that a lot of people became very vulnerable in some of these conversations without us setting the
Mm,
premise. So I don't. I mean,
I
I don't want to
see. I
go.
see.
Yeah, I don't want to go out and set this kind of stuff up. But I think what I try to say is that if that happens, just allow the person to kind of share. Don't downplay it or whatever. Like, let the person share and then continue. So I think that is also like kind of what we're doing in our friendship from time to time. I'll just ping you and
That's
say,
true.
and
That's true.
then
Yeah.
and of course, I mean, the strangest thing, and that's probably one of the positive things, is that I've spoken to mates the last couple of days or weeks that I haven't spoken to in eons, man. There's more phone calls with our parents. It's like, damn it, dudes, does it really take a
Yeah.
pandemic to reach out to your mates? Like, what the hell?
Yeah.
And I just touched my face again, dude. I don't know if you saw that.
I did it before, and now I'm crossing my
Yeah,
arms
I'm
just
saying,
to make
yeah, and
sure.
sorry, Anetka, I know you're listening to this. I want to apologize. I touched my face. But yeah, guys, wash hands. Don't touch your damn face. I mean, I don't, like, anyway. But yeah, so that's one of the big things. And also, like, the one thing that is kind of strange in our situation, and maybe like a lot of people are sharing this kind of feeling too, is that we are both immigrants slash expats slash residency people.
Yeah,
And we
right.
have these two-folded kind of experiences because on the one hand, of course, I have my in-laws, my family here in Poland, and Poland is approaching this whole thing in a certain way. But then I have this whole extended family in South Africa, right? And my parents are still there. Luckily, in South Africa, the president moved quite fast. But we
I mean,
have,
Did well.
yeah,
Africa overall did super well, I have to say.
but the thing, what worries me is like social distancing is easier said than done
Yeah,
over there, mate. So
yeah,
you
yeah,
have
yeah.
these two
I
things you're
know.
worrying about. So I mean, you're from um,
Guadeloupe.
Guadeloupe. I keep on forgetting, dude. And it's Caribbean, right? So how's things over there?
Um, okay, so we had um, social distancing exist. There's no water in my town right
Man,
now. They cut water since, I mean, they didn't cut water. It's not maintained, so it broke since, I don't know, something like 2 or 3 weeks. So basically, my dad needs to unsocial distance to queue to get water at in town. So it's annoying. However, for you folks listening to us, that's the reality in a lot of parts of the world. including Africa.
Yeah.
In general, I don't want to merge all Africa, obviously, but so my parents are doing well so far. My dad is medical. It's a as a medical profession.
Mm-hmm.
So I trust him to be safe and make the right steps. My mom is meditating all day long.
That's good. The
She told,
meditation probably keeps your dad sane.
yeah, she works in the legal sphere, so she's taking it with a lot of
Yeah.
abstraction, and she's taking, oh, everybody's calm, madam.
No.
So so I have to say that for my family, it's okay so far.
Yeah. No, it's good to hear, man. And then the next thing I want to talk about is that we have both of us made the intelligent move to go solo and start our own businesses, Jono.
That's
Like
2020.
yeah, that was
Perfect
yeah,
timing.
we were spot on with that one. But the thing is, like tongue in cheek and jokes aside, I think the one thing I was reflecting on, and the fact that we've gone solo and we're doing our own thing. First thing I would say, honestly, like putting my cards on the table, is that business is really slow for me at the moment. A lot of the work, like probably 50% to 80% of the work that I do is in-person work, right? So that's definitely going to be affected for the future. It also makes me think about how now I need to evolve my business. But then I would also add that no matter what profession you're in, what job, what company, what size of company, everybody's going to get affected. The economy is going to take a bit of a knock. So I don't know. Have you seen any effect on your side, mate, in the sense of
Yeah,
business?
obviously.
Yeah.
I'm working on e-commerce, so obviously
Yeah.
impacts are at every single level of our supply chain, and then our vending services.
Mm.
Um, we have the weird part is that we might have uptick in clients because people who
Yeah.
don't
E-commerce
want
is
to go.
probably taking up a bit more.
Yeah, yes, some, I will say some
Yeah.
e-commerce, because you need to be scaled well enough to be able to manage the
Yeah.
whole crisis. So for people who needs a reminder, I'm working with a Senegalese e-commerce company, and we basically do sell products, European and American products, source products in West Africa. And what's happening right now is that because of the lockdown that happened in most African countries, our supply chain has been disrupted.
Mm.
And something very simple, you need to deliver stuff, right? And you need to have people available to deliver stuff. And this has been constrained also a lot. So we have people on field, and we are trying to make this work, but there is a lot of challenges. I think that, like most companies, we have a Slack COVID-19 channel
Yeah.
in which it's urgencies upon urgencies. We have daily calls. I mean, we already had daily calls, but now there is a more urgent side to those
Yeah.
calls. We had tough decisions, um, salary decreased,
Yeah.
people weren't able to keep their job, unfortunately. Some of us had their hours lowered.
Yeah.
So it's not fun, right? Let's start with
No.
that. It's not fun. It's on the other side, we can't just, stop. We can just say, oh, let's stop there. It's not worth it or whatsoever.
Yeah.
So we are fighting. We are doing our best to not only survive, but but not only survive, but prove our values. Because one of the reasons we created that platform was to provide quality content, not only to West African markets,
Yeah.
so no counterfeit things, baby products, things like that. And it's a time when it's critical actually to supply those products. So
Yeah.
yeah, this is what we are
Yeah.
doing. Hopefully it will work out.
Yeah. And I think like
How
there's
about you?
the same's true for me, man. I'm still, so a lot of my business is dried up. luckily I still have a solid piece of business going into the digital space. But even that, initially I thought that won't be affected, and it's definitely. I mean, I'm still kind of waiting what the results is going to be. Am I still going to be working with this client or not? But I think what is interesting about it is also you can now observe what's happening from multiple perspectives. Because, for example, when things start going south, like it's going now, you kind of know that, is the job that I'm doing in this company essential? And I believe that whatever you do in whatever company you work for, no matter if you love or hate your boss, you need to make sure that what you're doing in that company or in that team is really meaningful and impactful. So, of course, the first thing that's going to get cut is people that is kind of filling the gaps. The linchpins are going to be keeping a lot of their employment. But that's also a very broad blanket statement to make, because I know a lot of people are hurting out there. The other thing that I wanted to say is last week, it's just relating a story, is that I had the opportunity with one of my clients to be in their staff call as they were assessing the situation. And it was, for me, the very first time in a very, very long time that I had such a... I mean, the CEO that in this company is like this is a New Yorker dude. He operates on a level that I have not really experienced in my life. And he's slick and fast, and he's a business guy, right? But I've never had a CEO or heard a CEO, a leader, give such a clear breakdown of how this is going to affect the business. And of course, it was a bit of a somber conversation, because they were highlighting where they were going to make cuts. I mean, for the permanent people, I mean, I'm a contractor there and kind of a supplier, but for the permanent people, basically their bonuses are off the table, and
Oh yeah.
That ain't going to happen, but the thing is, like when this transparency came through, of course it was super somber, but I actually felt like, okay, cool, this is great. I know exactly where I stand. And this is hopefully a lot of people are experiencing that, where there's clarity. And when that clarity comes through with authenticity, take it for what it is. We're in this together, right? I mean, that's the one thing. It's like there's no rich and poor. It attacks everybody, right? So, of course, there are people taking like serious advantage of the situation. We had one or two situations last week. I mean, watch out for those, because I remember, I don't want to go into the detail of that because there's a lot of things pending on those details, right? But when we were in South Africa and 9/11 happened, I remember like a few days later, and I'm in Johannesburg, South Africa, I get a letter from my insurance company saying, hey, because 9/11 happened, we are going to hike your rates. Just spot those con artists out there, because there's a few of them floating around. But for the rest, if you see that your business or the company that you're working for is really authentically going through a tough time, you have to see where you can step in, right? So one of the things that I'm trying to do now is to see, okay, we have a contract in place, we have these kind of things, and this is difficult to do, but where can I step in and maybe support them through this time? How can I add value and show, okay, cool, I'm part of the team, I'm willing to help you get through this. And it's tough to do, right? Because for some of us, I saw a lady earlier this week, she got furloughed, so she's currently on unpaid, right? They can't afford to pay her, and they still want to include her in the business, so have her attend meetings or whatever. And then at some stage she said, screw it, they're not paying me, I'm not going to go to the meeting. And I think that is a fatal mistake. I think, I mean, I'm not one that advocates free work, but this is different times, man. If you have nothing to do, rather than Netflix, see where you can help. Where can you add value? If it means that you don't have to sit in front and watch the latest series of Breaking Bad or whatever.
Yeah, I see what you're saying, and it makes a lot of sense. About Netflix, how do you cope with distractions right now?
Man.
Because it's we are talking a few weeks ago about it, and now
I don't know if Netflix is the problem at the moment, man. You know what? I've watched less Netflix since this thing hit, because my inbox has been flooded with so many meetings and videos and trainings and free this and free that. I got sucked down in a rabbit hole, man. I think that if you at all concerned about your productivity through this time, as I knock the camera around, try and cut those distractions. Revisit our episode about cutting distractions. I think it's more important than ever. I watched Seth Godin the other day talk again, and he said, you know what? 5 minutes of news is enough. You're not going to change the world. So watch 5 minutes of news, get it off your chest, check the numbers, and get stuck back in. Switch off those notifications and get busy. I think this is even more relevant than ever, because I got sucked down rabbit holes last week, not being 100% productive. How are you feeling?
Right. I would say first thing is it's worth going down this rabbit hole at least once just to get it out of your system and realize how unproductive you are when you're doing that. I think we all went through that refresh mode of Worldometer or New York Times, how many cases in my city, how many cases. Luckily, I'm out of it now. I had help in that I use software to block things on my computer. On my computer. And it helped me, basically telling me that, dude, no, you don't have a right to watch news right now. You did your 5 minutes. For me, it wasn't exactly 5 minutes. It was 5 minutes in the morning and 15 minutes in the afternoon. This is my allocation. And in terms of behavior, though, because everybody don't the web at the same time and using the web at the same time, I'm realizing a few things. So it's more about behaviors and distractions. I'm really wondering if I'm not going to go to the next step, which is totally cutting social media. Completely. Because I've been reading and watching visual essays and I just have much more fun doing that, spending my time doing that than anything on social media. I don't have FOMO anymore of social media, fear of missing out. So at this point, I'm like, what's the point of even keeping them? Because I don't really want to update them anymore. And this is talking at somebody who doesn't have Facebook and who doesn't really have Instagram. Basically, that will mean cut Twitter. And I just don't see... I'm going to tell you, one of the main reasons is that I really want to focus on my craft. And I'm realizing that to be able to focus on my craft, I need to cut out as much noise as possible. I thought I did that. I really thought I did that. And I'm realizing that there is still place. And on all those discussions that have been recently on social media, I didn't see anything that was meaningful that I couldn't get in another way. So that's something I'm thinking about right now.
I don't share your view, but I think it's always good in moderation. Right. And for some people, and maybe for you, I mean, I need to get to that level too. It's like, cut out what you need to cut out. I also think at the moment we're going through a massive kind of shockwave, right? Where, I mean, everybody's on Zoom. Zoom's shares, I wish I bought Zoom shares, man. In
100%.
Boom, right? It went straight through the roof. It's crazy. I think we're going through this echo now. Like, everybody's online. There's tutorials and I don't know what not. But it's going to be in 3, 4, 5 weeks' time when things settle down, when it becomes meaningful and we see what the real impact is. Because, I mean, I love my South African mates going into isolation for day one, and then I start seeing posts about how hectic isolation is, right? You've only done one day, mate. So, we'll have to see. The other thing is that I've seen, and this brings me to my last point, and this is kind of a thing that I want to throw out, because I have I have a challenge. I need to find business. I need to show up and help people and also pay my rent, right? And I have this thing, because I was working on something else unrelated before this even happened, and said, okay, cool, what does this mean? And I came up with this thing that I'm saying, and I haven't figured it out completely yet, is seek and show up. And what that means is that you really need to go find the audience that you can serve well, right? And then show up and help them. And that in some cases might mean that you have to do work for free. You might have to do some extra effort before you win them over as a client. And I think this is becoming really, really important. If this is someone that you really feel that you want to help, and you want to be effective for them and make a meaning there, just show up. Do your
So
stuff.
do you have targets?
I have a few ideas of things that I'm working on, right? So really defining the audience that I want to work with, and then see if I can show up for them to help them, right? So I'm starting already. So I mean, the only way I can do this now, and that's why I'm very careful about shunning social media completely, is that I can only do that through digital now. So I'm really trying to work my channel. So I've started doing some stuff on LinkedIn, and trying to show for people, to show them value before anything else. Because I tell you what is the challenge, I think, for us as entrepreneurs, is that the one thing I don't want to do, and I truly considered this, is because I went through an assessment of looking at my skill sets and whatever, is to jump on Fiverr and Upwork and all these other places. Because the thing is, I would do whatever I need to do to pay my rent and make sure I look after my family, and everybody, I think, listening to this would do the same. But the thing is, I just don't want to be in a race to the bottom. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
It's like, if you can serve an audience that really appreciates what you bring to the table, even if you have to initially do that for free, and buy and build community, that's fine. But I just don't want to be in this race where, okay, cool, I mean, I'm going to do banner ads for 50 zloty, and I'm the cheapest guy in the bunch. That doesn't work, man. And the quality, no. I mean,
I do think that your approach is sane.
Yeah, let's see if it works, mate. Anyways, we're coming up to the top of the hour, and we spoke about distractions, and we don't want to distract our listeners too much. And so what can we leave people with? To say, like, keep chin up, keep positive. Like you
keep
and me,
positive.
Yeah, we had a conversation, I think, a week ago, and what I really loved about it is that we had a bit of a vent talking about bad stuff. And then we said, okay, cool, what are we doing about it? I don't want to talk about it because I don't think it's a public thing, but Jono, you came up with a few positive things that you were kind of doing to change your situation. That inspired me. And I think this is the kind of conversations we have to have with each other going forward. Like vent and then say, okay, cool, what are we doing? What can we do to make this better? And then fucking do it. Okay?
Yeah. No, I think we didn't want to give advice. However, there are a few very good points. So what you just said about being positive, there is enough negative awareness, so there is no point of tumbling it again in our bodies. The second point is don't spend too much time looking at the news.
Yeah.
This number is going to go up. This number is going to go up. You know what you have to do. Wash your hands, social distancing. So you do that, and you try to, emerge from that situation as a better individual, as a better professional.
Exactly.
That's what you can do. That's what's in your hand.
Dude, and you said it, you threw it down. Just in the final, as we wrap this up, blockthinking.com. That's where all our stuff is. I'm not going to oversell it. Head there. Find us on Twitter and LinkedIn and all these fancy places. Tell us what you thought. Tell us how you feel. That's a big thing. It's like what's happening in your side of the world. And this is us. Keep safe out there. Wash your hands. And do the social distancing thing. That's the best thing you can do for all the health workers, people who are sitting in shops, selling you your groceries and toilet paper that you're buying.
Exactly.
Just stay the fuck at home. Talking to you, Jonah, and to you listening. Keep safe out there, guys. And as always, thanks for watching and thanks for listening.
Thank you.